In July 1947, something crashed on the Foster Ranch in New Mexico. What that object was, or what the government said it was, and what the public thought it could be has created a near-mythical confusion that has lasted ever since. Something crashed on the Foster Ranch in south-central New Mexico. The site was about 30 miles southeast of the small town of Corona, but it was 75 miles northwest of the larger town that gave this event its name, the Roswell incident. Rancher Mac Brazel found some debris scattered over about 200 square yards near a service road on the ranch where he worked. His first description to the press was of finding strips of papery material that were covered with shiny foil. He also said he found broken strips of lightweight wood and plastic, some of which had odd symbols on it, and spongy bits of rubber. He described the debris as resembling a broken kite. A little while later, after hearing about the Arnold sighting, he told the local sheriff what he'd found and suggested it might be a flying saucer. The sheriff, a man named Wilcox, reached out to report the debris to the Air Force, which he knew was operating out of Holloman and White Sands bases, both of which were near the ranch where the material was found. An Air Force officer came out to meet with Brazel, who led him to the site and helped him collect most of the debris. Word got out to the local press a short time later, and the flying saucer-fueled interest made itself felt in the now immortal headline. Captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. Reports of the Roswell incident were based on the July 8th press release that the Roswell Army Airfield published, claiming a flying disc had been captured on a ranch in Roswell. Upon sober reflection a few days later, the official lie became the now infamous weather balloon. After an initial period when the weather balloon story was accepted by the public, interest in the Roswell incident picked up again after multiple documented instances were made public of the government outright lying about its activities. The fantastical stories about alien invaders, secret bases, shadowy conspiracies, and malevolent forces inside the government are a painless way for people to start talking about the very real corruption and culture of secrecy. What really happened on that ranch? For decades, many UFO researchers were skeptical of the government's changed account. And in 1994, the U.S. Air Force released a report in which they conceded that the weather balloon story had been bogus. According to the 1994 explanation, the wreckage came from a spy device created for an until then classified project called Project Mogul. The device, a connected string of high-altitude balloons equipped with microphones, was designed to float furtively over the USSR, detecting sound waves at a stealth distance. These balloons would ostensibly monitor the Soviet government's attempts at testing their own atomic bomb. Because Project Mogul was a covert operation, the new report claimed a false explanation of the crash was necessary to prevent giving away details of their spy work. On July 8, 1947, the Dallas office of the FBI issued a one-page teletype summarizing the Roswell incident. This document relays information from the U.S. Air Force that a hexagonal object appearing to be a flying disc had been recovered in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico. In early 1987, British ufologist Timothy Good claimed to have been given a highly classified government document indicating that a secret committee of senior U.S. officials had investigated and then covered up the 1947 discovery of a crashed flying saucer containing the bodies of 4 humanoid aliens. Were there bodies? Why didn't the sheriff and Brazel see them in their investigation? Or another theory could have been the government made them keep this secret. Makes you think. Here is the twist in the story. My father saw the bodies. The daughter of a U.S. Army officer reveals exactly what her father saw firsthand. Although sworn to secrecy by Colonel Blanchard in regard to what he knew about the Roswell incident, Hout devised a way in 2002 to both keep his word and reveal what he knew by preparing a signed affidavit to be opened after his death. Don Schmidt, one of the world's leading UFO researchers, Dad considered a friend, and we were trying to save the information Dad knew for the future because we were unfortunately losing a lot of the first-hand witnesses. Don and I talked to my dad, and we said, "Do you want to do a written statement for release after your death?" And he agreed to it. Schuster continues. We were very careful. My dad was very particular, so he and I went over it word by word, sentence by sentence, just to make sure there was no question about what was written. After Haut's death in 2005, the affidavit was published in 2007's Witness to Roswell, unmasking the government's biggest cover-up. Basically, Dad said yes, he did see the bodies. Yes, he did see the craft, and much more than that, says Schuster. At one point I asked him about the size, and he said the craft was about 25 feet in diameter. After years of carrying a huge reality-changing secret relating to possibly the biggest and most important cover-up in human history, Haut had finally revealed everything he knew to his daughter Schmidt and Carrie. The ship which he described was about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, more of an egg-shaped object, and he did see a number of bodies, says Carrie. He described them as being the size of children. And when asked point blank if what he believed it was that he had seen, without hesitation he'd say, "It was not from this earth." 2. Several townspeople who had witnessed the crash but were threatened into keeping quiet. There are so many stories, it's hard to say what is true. For me, I'm ready to meet beings that are different from this world, or one far away. Roswell, New Mexico. Known mostly through myths about aliens and UFOs, there's more to Roswell than mystery and innuendo. No matter what your interests, archaeological and historical sites, special and sporting events, museums, arts and culture, Roswell is a great place for a weekend jaunt. Who knows, you may meet some interesting people from this world or beyond. Please subscribe for more stories. Hit that like button. Also check out this Roswell alien design. Find my merch link for this and much more. Thanks.